Um, so this particular class we are trying to look at finalize the entire syllabus of BDA, and followed by the other evaluations of the other things which were mentioned as part of my lesson plan. So which we will be trying to take it up sometime in the 22nd and 23rd of May, and finally finish it off with all the assignments and other grading aspects. So with respect to the question papers, what we are trying to look at, the previous 2 years question papers are available with me. I'll be sharing that with you all in the Google Classroom, and all the materials and notes I'll be sharing it across in the Google Classroom by the end of today, right? Make sure that you go through all these details and other things, and ensure that all the items are checked, right? I also see that few of you have not uh, given me the details of the assignment, what you are going to basically do for your subject, right? And the topics have all been published long back, but I don't see the groups and other things taking it very inactively, very actively, right? I see a very passiveness in taking up all these things, so which will definitely affect your assessment and grading at the end of this particular semester, right? And your grades for the first IA quiz has already been uploaded, and it has already been shared to you in the Google Classroom. And very shortly, probably there may be another announcement of another IA quiz. We do not know. If at all that happens, the portions for that will be Module 3 and Module 4. Right? I would like to place it on record. The module for the second IA quiz, if at all happens, will be Module 3 and Module 4 of your BDA syllabus, right? So coming back to what we were trying to deal with, we were looking at applications of big data analytics, right? So the applications of big data analytics, where we had looked into a lot of such applications, right? Maybe credit fraud management, or the social network analysis. So we had went through a lot of such kind of examples, and I believe in the last class we had done something related to process analytics. We just started with the process analytics, and due to the paucity of time, we were not able to cover that. Right. So today in this particular class, we will just try covering up certain applications where big data analytics has taken a lot of leap. Right. So one such application that we are trying to look at in today's class is the process analytics. Right. So this process analytics is used for extracting the information for uh, process oriented aspects, right? So it is basically understanding the control flow of many of the systems, trying to understand how the organizational perspective of the system basically works, right? So these are some of the details with respect to process analytics, right? So how a process model is basically evolved for a particular business organization, how it is basically used, right? What are the details? Because every event that we do in a process-oriented business organization will be logged, right? The event will basically be logged, right? So if there is a positive event or a negative event, everything will be logged in such kind of systems. So the information that is collected from such systems where the process and the model is analyzed, and there is some important discussions that are happening, everything is recorded. For example, if you go to your software life cycle development process in industry, we call it as agile or DevOps. Any two of these major development cycles will be used, right? Whether it is an agile or a DevOps, there will be control logs which will basically talk about the activity what is being performed for that particular project, right? How many sprints are being completed, what is the storyline that has been completed. These are the details which will basically be covered in that particular log. So every log details are basically stored, and it is basically collected, and it is basically used for certain analyzing, right? Used for certain knowledge from the event based systems, right? So if you talk about any kind of miner, any kind of mining softwares, they will basically be mining the way in which the details are being stored in the record. For example, in a product-based development companies, we will basically have testings, right? We will have test cases that is to be tested, right? So in those cases, right, there will be many activity that may be related to that particular test case, right? Many activity that may be that may not be that may be filed as a bug for that particular product, right? So every detail are to be covered, every detail are to be stored, right? Every detail are to be traced, right? And what is the life cycle of that particular defect, whether it has originated, whether it has been fixed, whether it has been still in a fix. So all these details can be looked at in case of process analytics, right? This has been a very important tool in industry for many years now, right? Especially the defect industry where the testing happens or the maintenance of the project happens. Lot of details are being worked out in this particular arena of process analytics. So you may see that any kind of miner, whatever that we talk about, they basically have its own process flow. For example, if you are trying to do a process analytics in a car service center system, right? So in a car service center, you basically have certain process inflow, right? For example, you basically create an order, you scan an invoice, right? You do a registration of a user, right? Based on the registration approval and rejection, the invoice will be booked, the invoice will be generated. There is a set of activities that is basically being performed in case of such kind of process, right? Every business what you take will have a well-defined process in it, will have a well-defined way of the control flow of that particular business activity, right? So and this becomes very important in such kind of industries. Right, it is as simple as what is being casted in this particular slide. You have big data resources, big data sources, which may be internal, external, multiple formats. It may be multiple locations, multiple applications, whatever it is. You have big data transformations, which are middleware, extract, transform, load, data warehouse, traditional formats like CSV and so on, where the raw data is transformed and placed in a transformed format. This is basically fed into big data platforms and tools. So these big data platforms and tools may be your Hadoop, MapReduce, Sharp, Harp, whatever is the tools that you are all aware of, Pig Hive, right, Zookeeper, HBase, Cassandra, CouchDB, MongoDB, any kind of big data platforms. And from that, you have the analytics that you are trying to develop. So the analytics may be developed in terms of reports, it may be developed in terms of queries, it may be developed by applying OLAP concepts, it may be extended further with data mining concepts also. So the data mining, big data analytics and applications are stitched together. They go hand in hand, right? Once when a data is basically being analyzed, right, the data is available in a particular format, it is the next step is the mining onto that particular data. And after mining, you create analytics with respect to that data to analyze what are the details that has happened with respect to that particular applications. So you may see that for many of the architectures, right, all the details that I'm trying to refer to are research papers. I have extracted information from a lot of research papers so that you can get a wide perspective of understanding of the implications and applications of big data mining and the platforms and tools which are used, right? So this is one of the paper which is presented in 2015, which talks about architecture for a social big data mining, right? Where they talk about how social networking analysis can be enhanced, it can be upgraded with lot of enabling technologies. The enabling technologies may be the integrated analysis model, it may be the natural language processing, it may be the information as extraction, it may be anomaly detection, it may be discovery of relationship among the heterogeneous data, large scale visualizations, parallel distributed processing. There may be several such kind of enabling technologies. And whatever that we do in case of big data or any kind of applications that we are trying to talk about, it is purely a layered up architecture, layered approach. We have conceptual layer where there is an integrated analysis that happens. We have a logical layer where there are data mining tasks which are loaded onto it. We have the data mining related tasks which are done. Then lastly, we have the physical layer where the data is loaded onto a particular hardware with the help of different softwares. So these data may be socially related in a particular region, or it may be spread across multiple regions, right? Sharded with respect to NoSQL concept, and they may be, they may be, completely separated with respect to what we are trying to deal with. So when you talk about some of the NoSQLs, the NoSQLs will basically maintain the data in distributed fashion, right? They do not maintain the data at one particular location. Rather, they ensure that the data is kept in several different places, right? So when you talk about any kind of such kind of social networking or a platform where you're trying to do some analysis, the outcome of an analysis may be for construction of a model, understanding the model of data in a better way, construction of individual hypothesis which has been proposed for it, right? For example, there were several hypotheses that was prepared, and it was analyzed in an air simulation when MH370 flight just lost its signal in the last moment, right? There were several hypotheses, there were several theories which were basically done, and there were several data simulations which were basically performed to track where this flight was basically, right? And even today we still not haven't found the complete details of this particular flight, right? So similarly, we have got the descriptions and execution of application specific tasks, right? So these are some of the details which basically happens with the analysis of data. So one of the very important applications which we have seen in the module 3 of your syllabus is the business intelligence, right? We basically come again and look into it, right? There is very one important question which is being posed, right? Which I just came across a few days before. Can a business operate without information? Can a business operate without information or without data? So the answer is yes, it can operate without data, but these are business applications which are on small scale or a very small scale basis, right? But applications, business which run on multi-millionaire or multi-crore projects definitely need lot of information to be stored and analytics to be developed with respect to that. And these kind of business enterprises will not be able to survive if at all the data is not being processed properly or data is not being collected, right? So speaking of what kind of data basically the business infrastructure or the business intelligence infrastructure basically deals with is the operational data, how the operations happens, right? You can visualize an example of a financial institution like banks, right? How do they basically operate, right? What are the modus operandi of how they basically operate in a day in and day out? Historical data, the transactions that have been generated for yesterday, day before yesterday, a week, weeks together, months together. These are all historical data which is collected. The mission data which resides on individual machines of the officers as well as on the server. The web data which is there, right? Audio, video data which is recorded, right? For example, some of the cases you have got biometric authentications for customers, right? So these biometric authentication needs to store the biometric data of it. It need not be just audio, video. It may be even schematically the retina scanner. It may be something related to fingerprint scan, so on, right? Then you also have external data which is used in this particular applications. So these external data are basically to ensure that the external information which comes outside that particular organizations are also recorded, right? So then this particular infrastructure what we have, where various data is basically used, is basically loaded onto a Hadoop cluster for processing, because it's a very huge data. Imagine a bank like State Bank of India, where it has got more than 5,000, 6,000 branches across India, and there are so many data that it basically deals with, right? And these data have to be processed in real time, right? And the data has to be extracted, right? So they have to be stored in the data warehouse, and there should be a data mart that is to be created, and there should be some analytical platform where analytics are performed on this particular data, right? So there is basically two categorizations of users that you can basically see. One categorization is the casual users, where they do just querying, reporting, and dashboards. The others are power users. These are basically the admin users, where they do querying, reports, OLAP, and as well as data mining. So these are some of the ways in which the architectures are developed. And this may not be universally true. The infrastructure, what I'm trying to show, or the architecture, what I'm trying to show, may not be universally true across all businesses. It may be different for every business. For example, an insurance company will be different from a bank, right? When you talk about the healthcare industry, it will be different from a bank, right? Every institution or what or organization that we basically talk about have these data in a different way. They maintain the data in a different way, right? Because of which the infrastructure of business intelligence or the architecture of business intelligence is custom tailored onto that particular applications. Mining and data warehousing plays a very, right? You may see the hierarchy is a pyramidal structure, right, where it goes from bottom to top, right, where the bottommost is the data sources, which we basically talk about, right, which may be papers, which may be files, which may be web documents, which may be scientific experiments, which may be any other sources of data, whatever may be the data, by the database administrator. So the data gets transformed and gets loaded into a data warehouse. Similarly, you have got data exploration, a layer above it, right, where there is a statistical summary, querying, and reporting which happens. So till this particular layer, all these three layers comes under the supervision of DBA, right? The data, which is the next layer, which is the data mining, where there is an information discovery or a knowledge discovery, which basically happens, is done by a data analyst, right? So the job of the database administrator is to make sure that the data is ready for further processing, right? The analysis part of it is done by the data analyst, right? You find lots of jobs for data analyst across LinkedIn jobs. Is have lots of handsome related jobs, right? Maybe Facebook, maybe Honeywell, maybe any kind of companies. They are ready to people who have specialized, especially in data analysis, right? And then you have got business analysts, wherein which the mind data or the knowledge is improved upon, that we have studied in module 3 presented, right? This is basically done, basically understand the market strategies, life cycle, what is the future for the products that can be basically released in the market, at what time can be released. So these data presentations are basically done by the business analyst. At the last, at the top most point of it is the decision making, right? With all these things, the enterprise will make a decision for a particular task or a particular release of a particular product, right? So as a pyramid to a top of the pyramid, on decision making, right? In find any kind of fault, any kind of false data, it will definitely drive negative trend, right? It may a negative decision with Reliance Communication and also several other companies like Sun. They lost a lot of market shares markets, and they started into bankruptcy, right? These sure that they are perfectly starting itself. Nothing goes wrong at the end. So when you talk about evolution, the business intelligence has a wide range of capabilities. As what you have seen, it may be from data gathering, data processing, to the applications of analytics and other things, scorecards, workflow, alerts and notifications, data and text mining, right? Predictive analytics, use of certain broadcasting tools, use of certain portals for improvement of information. So it has a wide range of BI capability over time, right? And very so when you talk about data science and business intelligence, often it so happens that these terminologies becomes very confusing, right? Many of my students, right, many of my friends like you who are trying to apply for an MS program in US universities or anywhere abroad, find these terms very confusing, right? They say one side's data science, the other place is artificial intelligence, then you have business intelligence and marketing, right? You have so many related terms which sounds in the same way, but actually when you see the exact terms and definitions of these terms, they are slightly different, right? For example, when you talk about data science basically deals with predictive analytics. When you talk about business intelligence, it basically talks about analytics of the existing data, right? So the analytical exploration is way different in both the techniques like business intelligence as well as data science, right? So in data science, you basically make use of statistical modeling, predictive modeling, right, which is applied on a wide variety of different source of data, right? Then you have optimal scenarios for your business, right? So these are some of the ways in which data science is used. Right? Data science is a cumulative science of understanding how data is processed, how it is being represented as knowledge, and how it is being used, and so on, right? So there is a wide variety of difference between data science as well as business intelligence, right? Probably the data science can involve all techniques like AI, business intelligence, right, machine learning, everything into it. There may be a sub study of all of these topics, which is basically trying to lead into understanding of the data origination, processing, and syncing, or the analytics part of it, right? So if the program basically talks about AI, you are only talking about artificial intelligence, which is a specialized area there, right? Where you are trying to talk about how knowledge can be improved for the system. This is basically areas which basically tend to expert systems, robotics, and other things, right? So when you're talking about machine learning is common across artificial intelligence, it is common across data science, everything, right? Data mining techniques, right? A polished name of it is what is being used. So everywhere where data science is used, it is the holistic learning of the entire system of data analysis. So then you have data mining also as another topic, right? The topic of data mining basically deals with the intersection of these topics, right? You may see that it is pattern recognition to some part of it, artificial intelligence, machine learning, databases, mathematical modeling, management science and information systems, right? Statistics of data. So these are all allied applications or allied disciplines which basically intersect with the concept of data mining, right? Everybody is very much aware of this knowledge discovery process. I need not have to repeat this, right? A very popular slide from Hanan Kambar, right, where they talk about how data which originates from multiple sources becomes a knowledge at the end, right? And how knowledge is important, right? We have seen terms like data, information, knowledge, right, expert knowledge, and so on, which is used for different systems, right? So data is basically raw, which is collected. Some part of it is processed, then it becomes an information. When the information is processed, you get a knowledge out of it. When the knowledge is processed to another end, it becomes intelligence, right? Which you call it as an expert knowledge, right? So this particular intelligence can be used for missions, for doing a lot of activity, right? So the taxonomy of data mining tasks can be something like this. You can have supervised and unsupervised, right? You can have prediction, association, and clustering. We have seen these things in detail. We have seen a lot of algorithms in detail in the past many classes. So I would not like to go in depth with this. So we come to another topic, or the application of big data, which is deep learning intelligence, right? Deep learning was said to be a very popular study in way back in the 80s and 70s, but after that it slowly started losing its momentum. But off late from 2014 and onwards, or 2013 and onwards, it has gained a lot of momentum. The reason is because it does a larger exploratory study of data beyond the normal data mining techniques, right? And it tries analyzing to the data to a very large level, right? For example, if you talk about a neural network system, you can unfold many layers, hidden layers, so that you can improve the accuracy, and you can also get more knowledge about that particular data. So the data, big data for deep learning may use technique like mobile sensors, social media, video surveillance, video rendering, smart grids, right? These are some of the very prominent applications, right? Geophysical explorations, right? Then you have medical imaging, gene sequencing. There are lots of such applications which are basically available, right? For example, if you talk about smart grid itself is a very vast domain which encompasses electrical engineering, computer science, mechanical engineering into its ambit, and it has become a true interdisciplinary application today, right? Similarly, when you talk about medical imaging, it has become interdisciplinary in terms of medical engineering, right? Biomedical engineering, right? Electronics engineering and computer science engineering, right? All of them put together, they are trying to do a lot of analysis with medical imaging and things like that, right? Gene sequencing again is a very, very important application today. We're able to, with respect to gene sequencing, we are able to do a lot of marvels, all right? For example, even for today's pandemic that we are trying to face in the current era, right? A lot of researchers, biological researchers are trying to do a lot of understanding with the RNA structures of the novel coronavirus, right? And how does it basically mutate itself into different forms, and what are the possible ways wherein which it can be contained, or it can be isolated, or it can be vaccinated. These are all the possible research which is basically happening with the gene sequencing. And even today we do not have a breakthrough in that particular research. People claim that we have found a vaccination for it, but I don't know if the vaccination works very well for it, and things like that, right? Lot of such kind of diseases which has been eradicated from the face of earth, something like polio, right? And we have got smallpox, which has completely gone out from the surface of the earth, right? We do not have those viruses or bacteria anywhere mutating in any of the human life cycles today. So largely when you are talking about, there are lots of improvements which has happened with gene sequencing, genetical engineering, and so on, right? You see lots of people, chemists, microbiologists who are working on labs to find out some solutions for certain epidemic diseases or pandemic diseases like novel coronavirus. So you can see that the data is basically structured, unstructured, quasi-structured, semi-structured. These are the formats in which the data is basically opening up, right? And big data basically deals with um, data which is largely unstructured. So typical analytical architecture, which is on a generic basis, you can see that there may be multiple data sources, reports, departmental warehouses, right? There may be dashboards, reports, and alerts that can be used. There may be data science users who may be trying to use this particular platform for understanding how the data is basically is manifesting. So you can see that there is data evolution and rise in data sources, right? As just yesterday, I was just going through one of the Coursera course on IoT, right? It is said that there are 7.7 billion devices which are going to be connected by the end of this particular year. And my God, if you understand the kind of data that it can generate, overall, it generates somewhere around 400 zettabytes of data overall, right? 400 zettabytes of data, right? If I take 1 zettabyte of data, it is as good as watching 3,177 movies on Netflix, right? And we are talking about a scale of data which is 400 zettabyte, right? Imagine the kind of data that we are trying to talk about, right? In 2010, it was just in hexabytes, but by the time we talk about 2020, we are talking in terms of hexabytes, sorry, zettabytes, right? Which are 10 times, 20 times more larger than petabytes and things like that, right? So our connected world are getting more connected with more devices which are connected to the internet. More devices are connected to systems. More IoT applications have come into picture, right? There is always a threat of privacy as well as security when large number of devices are connected, right? You may see that every activity what you are trying to perform today is will have a digital footprint in the internet, and will have some kind of traceability with what people are trying to do on the internet, right? So such amount of data, or such large volume of data, is what we are trying to talk today, right? You can see that your open IDs like Facebook, right, your Google ID are being used for hundreds of applications for logging, right? Hundreds of applications. Now, what does this basically create? This basically creates enormous amount of data connected to a particular user account, right? And this particular data keeps growing and growing every time. We don't know what is the size that it can finally end with. So the emerging data, big data ecosystem is, as I said, there are lots of devices which are generating data, right? For example, even if you talk about an Amazon grocery store, right, you might have seen that particular video. There are lots of RFIDs, there are lots of machine learning techniques that are implemented on it. So many IoT devices which are connected to do scanning and other things, where a customer comes out of that particular grocery store, he's automatically billed, right? So there are evolving different types of ecosystems which are used for many of the sectors, medical, right, internet, phone, TV, and so on, right? And which are basically indirectly dependent on a lot of other segments of data, a lot of other segments of data aggregators, right? Data users, data buyers, right? The data where the device which originates. So there is wide amount of data management techniques which can be basically used understanding how data is evolving over time, right? You can also see that there are key roles of new big data ecosystem which talks about deep analytical talent, right? If you see, data scientists are the top jobs which are being paid prior to this pandemic, right? I do not know the status of what is happening in many of the places. I see in US there are 21 million jobs which they have lost, right? But what I'm trying to talk about are trends which are till the end of December of 2019, right? Where you can see that there's a huge, very huge requirement for data scientists, very huge requirements for talented data scientists who are aware of a lot of techniques. People are hunting for PhD holders, especially in this particular area, right? And you are also talking about data savvy professionals, which are projected to be 1.5 million to 2 million jobs by the end of 2020, but I do not know about the current status now, right? So there are lots of changes which is being predicted by the McKinsey's reports. These are all statistics which was collected in 2018, right? Which predicted a huge jump, right? It has gone leaps and bounds beyond what was being projected in 2018. Right. By the way, there is another magazine called as computing.com, right, where you can also see a lot of latest trends which are happening with big data, AI, and other techniques, and what are they basically trying to do and things like that. So the profile of a data scientist will be quantitative, mathematical, statistic, software engineering, is the technical skills, machine learning, programming skills, right? Skeptical mindsets, critical thinking, a lot of other requirements with respect to the profile of a data scientist. Very importantly, what has happened is the data that is being generated, people are forgetting the fundamental aspect of security and privacy, right? Security and privacy are most important aspects of any system, right? Which we are basically forgetting every time, right? So when you talk about nation security or cyber security or any kind of security, right, there is a very important thing that we basically need to do. We have to ensure that the data is protected with all privacy and other related techniques, right? I will not go deep into MapReduce paradigm. We have already seen lots and lots of examples with respect to that, and I would not like to cover anything with respect to Hadoop and things like that. I think I'm done with for today's class. Right, I'm whatever that I wanted to basically cover. I have just covered it for today's class. Right, and probably another 2 hours or 3 hours of portions is what is left out in this particular segment of the last module of big data analytics, which I will be trying to cover in the next few classes in the next week, that is 15th and 16th. So thank you all. We will be connecting again with the class in the next week, right?